بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. All praise and thanks to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for His numerous blessings, for the fact that He made us believers in His Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and showered us with endless routes to gain reward. And one of the greatest of routes is the month of Ramadan itself. So all thanks and praise and gratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for enabling us throughout this month to fast this month, to stand the night in Taraweeh, to do the good deeds that we aspire to do. And all thanks to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for granting us an additional day of Ramadan and completing this month for us. Every day of Ramadan is a day of mercy and forgiveness and blessings. So having an additional day of Ramadan is an additional day of mercy and blessings. And for those people who are in itikaf especially, it's another day of directing ourselves to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in worship. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala this additional day that is granted us, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grants tawfiq to reap the full reward. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said in the hadith, إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالْخَوَاتِيمِ. The actions that are in accordance to the ends. So the month of Ramadan hasn't ended for us, there's still a few days left. So you should be still in high aspirations. Sometimes you can mentally have left the month of Ramadan, but physically you're still in the month of Ramadan. Like sometimes mentally as a person's traveling, if they're going to travel, they're mentally already where they need to be. So we need to be aware that we're still in the month of Ramadan, still a great month of blessings. The other important thing is that we are not people who worship Ramadan. We are not doing anything to please Ramadan. We're doing it to please the Lord of Ramadan, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And He is the one who is our God and our Lord and the Creator in the past, present and the future. In every place, in every time. And that is an important thing for us to remember. And one of the signs of ultimate and absolute sincerity of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is that a person remains directed to Allah regardless of circumstances. If anything, circumstances make a person more directed to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But the connection never ever breaks. So we need to be constantly reminding ourselves, especially at this moment, next few days are vital for us. When someone's in A&E, it's the next few days are critical. So think of yourself on life before. The next few days are critical for us. Right? If you want to survive spiritually, the next few days we're going to have to give a lot of attention. We're going to have to carefully continue the good actions we're doing. Of course, the great aspiration we have in the month of Ramadan, you're not going to match that outside the month of Ramadan. It's not going to happen. But you maintain that connection. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, وَاعْبُدْ رَبَّكَ حَتَّى يَأْتِيَكَ الْيَقِينُ. Worship your Lord until you meet death. So if you want to know how much you need to worship and how long you need to worship, this is the ayah that's sufficient for you. Worship your Lord until you meet death. There's no set amount, there's no timing where it ends except with death. When you can't do anymore, death has overtaken you and you meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the condition of worship. Allah gives the tawfiq that we can continue in that way. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for husnul khitam, a good end to our lives, because إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالْخَوَاتِيمِ, actions are according to the endings. The scholars have mentioned that there's 4 causes of a bad end for a person. You should be aware of these things. There's 4 causes. In one hadith, the Prophet said that a person who's been destined for the fire, he may do the actions of the righteous people all the way until he reaches an arm's span of paradise. And then the destiny takes over and he becomes one of the people, he becomes astray and he becomes the people who are misguided, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends him to the fire because of that. The end of the life of a person is absolutely crucial. We're not satisfied until both our feet are in paradise. We don't count our reward and think that, like they say, you don't count your chickens before they hatch. So we don't count our reward before you get God to paradise. We will say Alhamdulillah when both of our feet are in paradise. When we're firmly through the door of paradise. We remain hopeful without a shadow of doubt. But certainty only belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we should always be striving, because certainty is sealed at death. That's when certainty is sealed. So the scholars mention that there are 4 causes of a bad end. And every one of us should be striving to avoid these causes of a bad death. The first is at-tahawun bis-salati, taking the prayer lightly. Taking the prayer lightly. Not praying or praying when a person feels like it. No, we are slaves of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah is our master, and the agreement between us is that we worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah showers us with His blessings and His mercy. Right? So one of the causes of having a bad end is taking the prayer lightly, not giving attention to the prayer. having laziness in the prayer. Second is washurbul khamri, drinking alcohol. Because it overtakes the person's senses, the person doesn't have a care for anything, and that causes the person to lead on the path. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from that. Majority of us, alhamdulillah, we are protected, but there are people in our community, from the Muslims, who are inflicted by this. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect everybody. We don't know what our future will be. Allah make us from people of righteousness. The third is وَأَذَى الْمُسْلِمِينَ, giving trouble, giving difficulties to believers. Giving difficulties to fellow believers is the cause of a bad end. And finally, وَعُقُوقُ الْوَالِدَيْنِ, being undutiful and being dishonorable of the parents. And this is one of the things that brings a bad end. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from a bad end. So the point of me just mentioning this is that we're now at the verge of soon leaving the month of Ramadan the next day. And we're going to be back out in the normal affairs of the dunya. And it's not going to be easy for us to maintain the same connection we had before. But one of the safe havens we have is coming to the mosque regularly, frequenting the mosque. The mosque is a safe haven for a believer. Right? It's a place where a believer finds safety, security, peace and tranquility. A person has to maintain connection. So whether that means you come once a day or you come even once a week. There are people who struggle to come to the mosque. For those people, even coming once a week could be the lifeline that protects them from drowning in the dunya. But you never ever disconnect yourself from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the haven, safe haven Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that just as in the month of Ramadan we have been frequenting the masjid and being mindful of our responsibilities and duties to Him, Allah gives us the tawfiq that we can stay mindful. Moving on, I think there might have been an announcement. Just a reminder, two important things very, very quickly. First of all, you've got the fitrana. The fitrana is mandatory upon every individual upon whom zakat would be covered. Well, zakat normally you got the money for a year and then you give the zakat. But on the day of Eid, if you have the enough money to give zakat, you must give fitrana from yourself and give fitrana from your children who are under your responsibility and the young children, non-baligh children. Okay, a man does not necessarily have to give fitrana from his wife. A man does not need to give fitrana from his adult children. That is their responsibility. But if you would to carry that responsibility with a commission, you are welcome to do that. It's probably a good idea for everybody to carry their own responsibilities in this day and age. Because people don't realize what responsibility they have. So this person realizes when they're 40 years old, I'm supposed to give fitrana, that's been giving me all this time. It's opportunities like this which allow us to teach our children that they have certain responsibilities. So even though sometimes we carry extra burdens, at some point we need to allow our children to become adults, not in just the dunya, but after as well. Carry the responsibilities. So that's one important thing. And the second is the 6 fasts of Shawwal, which are optional fasts or sunnah fasts. But still, they are fasts that connect us to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. 6 fasts of Shawwal. The Prophet said that the one who fasts the month of Ramadan and follows them up with 6 fasts in Shawwal, they will be counted as a person who has fasted the entirety of the year. And the rationale behind that is that every good deed is multiplied by 10. So 1 month of Ramadan times 10 equals 10 months. And 6 fasts of 6 fasts of Shawwal, when they multiply by 10, it becomes 60 and it's 2 months more. So that equates 1 whole year of fasting. So it symbolizes a person being in constant fasting. In the same way, it's also encouraged for a person to fast the 3 days in the middle of the month. Again, if you times them by 10, what do you get? 30. That person is counted as a person who fasts constantly. Right? Look at the mercy and the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala opened doors of good deeds with such ease. Right? It's our mistake and our wrongdoing if we don't take the step to enter the door. Otherwise, we can't say the door's closed, door's wide open. So Allah gives us the tawfiq that we can act in accordance to this.